You want to say something or?
Oh, okay. My name is Laura Heise. I'm the chair of the Chatham County Board of Elections. We're meeting today to conduct a recount of a local commissioners election, District 5, and also the Supreme Court statewide election, which is the Supreme Court Chief Justice race. We're going to run through all the ballots that have been counted since, including Election Day and before Election Day. We have a high-speed scanner to work with today, which should make the whole process much easier. It's a machine we've never used here in the office before, but we know how to use it. Either Pandora or Steve is going to explain exactly what our procedure is in terms of handling the ballots and keeping track as we go along. One thing to note is that we're all supposed to be extremely quiet once the actual counting process begins. So any questions anybody has about how this procedure is taking place should be asked now before we start counting the ballots, or you need to wait until we're out on a break or at lunchtime. I think that's all I need to say.
Okay, thank you, Lori. First, for anyone who's watching who don't know who I am Pandora Pascal. I'm the director for the Chatham County Board of Elections. And Lori introduced herself, and we have another board member here, Charles Ramos.
I'm Charles Ramos, Secretary for the Board of Elections for Chatham County.
And Frank, if you'll introduce yourself.
Frank Dunphy, member, Board of Elections, Republican.
Amy Meek, member of the Board of Elections, Democrat.
And also Charles is a Republican. These are the staff that will be bipartisan teams. We have Susan Sigmund here, Terry Herndon, Carla George, and Peter Zekulowski.
Two are Republicans. Two are
Yes.
Democrats.
Two are racial unaffiliated but represent. Carla is a Republican judge for Three Rivers, yes. Also, we have Donald Lowry, who's here as part of the Board of Elections staff. Steve Semos is here, who's the Deputy Director for the Chatham County Board of Elections. And we have the videographer, who is Aaron Hall, and we have his son, who's Daniel, who is standing in for him. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to try to give you some explanations. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. Of course, the recount, Lori told you which races. We have the candidate for Commissioner District 5 here. Andy Wilkie is here. Welcome.
Flores is here too.
And Franklin is also here. He just walked in. You can sit out there, Franklin, beside Andy. Okay, so the recount must have the presence of the board. They're open to the public. This means that either a quorum of the board or a bipartisan team of the two board members must be present for the entire recount. The reason we need a quorum is if anything should happen, if a ballot that did not scan will be counted by hand, a quorum of board members must also be present when the determination of the voter intent needs to be made. The public, since we are in this pandemic, we have provided live feed for you to be able to see it because the space in this room is limited. This includes the candidates, of course their representatives, legal counsel or media representatives, and any other interested persons. We only have space for two out in the front, so we ask the candidates to be here, so they are here. These persons must observe the counting process, but may not observe the individual ballots. The bipartisan counting team, members of the board, staff, and the county board members are the only persons who may handle and touch the ballots and other election materials. The County Board of Elections shall exercise control over the conduct of the recount to ensure that the bipartisan counting teams do not experience interference from any person observing the recount. All persons who are not under the supervision of the County Board of Elections are considered observers and shall not impede or disrupt the recount process in any way. If any observer engages in disruptive behavior that in the opinion of the Board of Elections threatens the orderly conduct of the recount, the Board of Elections shall issue a warning. If the observer does not cease the offending conduct, the county board shall order the observer's removal.
Kendra, how many observers are permitted in this room?
We don't have enough space for social distances. We don't even have observers, actually.
So we're not gonna have any observers?
We have the two candidates,
Okay.
and we invited them because of that purpose. And we have the live feed, of course. Okay. So, and then too, it is permissible to combine the recounts, because we do have the Commissioner District 5 race and also a state. So we're gonna be looking at both of those races today. And here is the counting of the ballots and the voter intent. They must be counted according to the principles and rules contained in General Statutes 163-82.1A during the initial count for any recount. And that is general principles that apply. And these are the general principles. Only official ballots shall be counted. No official ballot shall be rejected because of technical errors in marking it, unless it is impossible to clearly determine the voter's choice. If it is impossible to clearly determine a voter's choice in a ballot item, the official ballot shall not be counted for that ballot item, but shall be counted in all other ballot items in which the voter's choice can be clearly determined. If an official ballot is marked in a ballot item with more choices than there are offices to be filled or propositions that may prevail, the official ballot shall not be counted for that ballot item, but shall be counted in all other ballot items in which there is no overvote and the voter's choice can be clearly determined. If an official ballot is rejected by a scanner or other counting machine, but human counters can clearly determine the voter's choice, the official ballot shall be counted by hand and eye. Write-in votes shall not be counted we're not having a primary or a referendum, so that doesn't matter. The write-ins is written by the voter person authorized to assist the voter. So we won't be looking at write-ins today. So here's the recount procedures. We are to keep a log of all attendees, so we have the log outside. The room is now closed because it has reached its capacity. Everybody has a name tag, and we are to review recount procedures with those in attendance, which I just did. So first of all, we're going to have the bipartisan team officials to take the oath. And this is the oath right here. And of course, you'll just fill your name in. Lori, would you like to give the oath?
Sure.
And there you go, Ms. Carl.
So if you would just read along with me and say your own name after you say I, say your own name, and then we'll go together. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, that I will honestly discharge the duties of recounting ballots in Chatham County for election held this day, and that I will fairly and honestly tabulate the votes cast in said election, so help me God. And if you would sign and put a date on it. Did you need pens for that?
Yep. There's some in the box over there on the table. You can place those back on the table, it'll be fine.
Give you a good one, huh?
David, Okay, so while they're signing, I'll go through the preliminary procedures. Okay, so the bipartisan, they've already taken the oath, So the Board of Elections shall announce at the time of each precinct, the one-stop site or the absentee group to be tallied before beginning the recount process for that precinct unit. So today, instead of us having all the machines from each precinct and each early voting site, we have a high-speed scanner that is made by Hart, and I don't know if Carla or somebody else wants to give more in-depth description of this machine.
Is Carla out there?
Yes. So this is we'll be putting the ballots in this machine because it feeds them faster and counts them faster. So instead of getting out all the, ones from all the precincts. So Carla, if you want to just give a brief explanation of what this is gonna
You
do.
pretty much explained it, but
Okay.
what this machine will do is basically condense one machine, one Verity scanner into one, or all of the Verity scanners into one machine. It's just a high-speed scanner. It scans the ballots front and back, just like our scanners do at the precincts, and it collects the data onto this computer, at which time, after all the data is collected from all of the ballots, we take the data from this machine to our own Chatham County Verity machine to report the data. This one will only collect the data and give us a total count. It will not give us ballot data. It will only show us how many ballots have been counted. This, once we collect that data, we will have to take it back to our own Verity count machine to produce the reports of what the candidates, or what the ballot count was. Not the ballot count, but your totals for the candidates. Am I saying that?
Yeah.
Is this machine collecting data on a stick, just like the tabulator?
It will. Once it's all collected in the hard drive of this machine, I'll put it on a stick, which will then go over to our Verity machine.
And then,
Why do we have to go from here over there? Why don't we go directly over there to that machine?
Because this is the state's Verity Central machine.
Right.
Chatham County did not pay for Verity Central. They purchased this setup. We have Verity Count, which produces the reports that we need. Without going into too much detail, Verity Central is the prime top line part counting machine. We did not purchase this. This is the state's. So we're borrowing this to do it.
and they bought it for that purpose.
Right.
They bought it with CARES Act money because, for instances just like today, where we have
For
a recount.
instances like this. But
And they can loan it
in
out to.
order to use ours alone, without the use of this, we would have to bring out each one of our machines again and individually do Albright by itself, Bennett by itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Our software does not have the capacity to run this equipment.
48,809 ballots and a faster
It doesn't
rate.
have the capacity to do that. So we have to use the high speed and the upgraded version that the state bought in order to run all of these ballots, the huge number of ballots at one time.
How do we tell if, during the process of this, would we know if we run Hadley precinct and the numbers are not what we
Yes.
reported on election day? How are we keeping track of that as we go along? Or are we?
Steve,
We've got sheets. I'll explain that process when Pandora's done.
Okay,
And
so,
what the
so
teams will
you're
be
getting
doing.
streaming data of
Yes.
some sort as we go along?
Yes.
Yes, it's
Okay.
not running all together.
Okay,
It's,
okay,
it's still doing it by precinct,
okay.
Yeah,
right?
I need to clarify what Pandora said. Internally to the machine, it's doing it by precinct, but we are not, it is grabbing all of that data into one large container of all of the ballots. So you're gonna see some large numbers in here that accumulate as we add precincts. Do you understand what I'm
So
saying?
we need to do some subtraction on
Steve
our own.
already has all of that ready for you to calculate it, already calculated to make sure that we're keeping up with what it should be as we progress.
Okay.
But I don't want you to be misled that you're gonna see Albright on the screen and just Albright.
Okay.
It's not gonna be like that. I'll explain as we go, if we can, to keep things progressing, but this machine accumulates all of the ballots. Okay?
All right, and
So, just for my understanding, and sometimes I'm slow, we got 48,000 plus ballots that we're gonna feed into this equipment over the next day or two, depending on how long
Mhm.
it takes us. And of that 48,000 ballots, we have 18 precincts, is that correct?
Correct.
But this machine won't tell us what precinct number 1 did, and precinct number 2 did, and precinct number 3 did in comparison to your paper.
That's the other machine
The
over
other machine,
They will break that.
it'll be able to take the information
just
from
adding.
this
Mhm.
This
and
is-
discriminate, and that's in the computer system.
Correct.
Okay, so is this computer connected to the internet right now?
Not at all.
That's important.
It's never been connected to.
So
the
no one
internet.
can reach in and monkey with the data
No.
that's being done here right now.
No, sir.
Now, when we take this information to the computer, which is 2 doors down the hallway here, we're taking it on what you call a stick, is that what I call a thumb drive?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And we're walking it over there and we're plugging it into,
Our same machine that we work on election.
which is what you call Verity.
Yes, sir. Verity count.
And Verity will divide up the different precincts and say, this precinct had 10,000 and this, and it
Yes.
happens next door.
Yes, sir.
When do we do that? Is it when we finish the whole kit and caboodle?
After
Yes, sir.
everything's
So that's either
done.
this afternoon or tomorrow, or whenever we
Whenever
finish.
we're done, we're counting
Yes,
all
sir.
the ballots.
and then I'll have to upload it to election night reporting, just like I did on election night
Yeah.
for the
that's
canvas
next step.
recount.
So that's the third step.
Yes.
So after you put it in your machine 2 doors down the corridor,
Have to go in
and
my
you
office.
divide it up, then do we take it out on another thumb drive and take it to her?
Yes.
And then she transmits it via the internet to Raleigh,
Correct.
via an encrypted, putatively secure line.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's where it could be intercepted by some clever Chinaman if he was able to break the code.
But we know what our results are. We already know what our results are.
I understand. So this data is independent of the internet until we transmit it to Raleigh.
Yes.
Correct.
Just like election night.
I got it.
Yep.
That's all. I just wanted to make sure I understood the steps.
Okay, thanks, Carl. It says the county board of elections shall make a record of the number of Tampa evidence seals, and each ballot box has seals on them that were put on election day, night, whatever, after, it came back from the precincts, and they have to match the seal to what the seal was on the thing when they sent it out to the precincts, and the early voting sites, and the absentee by mail, and all that.
How will we do that?
They have the seals. Do you have the, sheets where you put them on?
Yeah, they go on there.
He's got them right here. Before opening any other voting equipment, that's what you would do. The bipartisan team shall examine the electronic voting equipment, determine that any other Tampa evidence seals are intact and match the laws maintained by the Board of Elections. The team shall note on the recount audit sheet any irregularities or evidence of possible tampering with the device. The bipartisan teams together shall complete an audit sheet to record the following: the machine serial number, the precinct name or code, voter history count, the bipartisan team name, date and time of beginning and end of the recount. A member of the bipartisan team shall open the sealed ballot container for the voting site, and this should be done in full view of the election officials and observers. A member of the bipartisan team shall remove ballots from the sealed ballot container and place the ballots on a table. A member of the bipartisan team may use an air spray can or give the ballots a gentle shake to remove any residue from the ballots. The team shall open the ballot box and inspect all compartments to ensure that the bin is empty, which the ballots will just come out of the printer here instead of going in a ballot box like they do. And then, of course, the member of the bipartisan team shall open the polls. Do they open the polls on that, Carla?
No.
Okay, so that won't happen with this Verity thing.
No.
There's no tape at all, is there? On this machine?
No, it prints out, paper. But you can see where there's nothing on there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I already printed the 0 reports, but I can print them again.
The tabulator observer shall take the stack of ballots that have been placed on the table and hand the ballot to the tabulator attendant one at a time. We won't be doing that, Steve. We'll be doing it 100 ballots at a time, right? Okay, and you can explain that further.
The process.
Then, of course, the tabulator attendant, somebody will be a tabulator attendant, they shall feed the ballots into the tabulator. Then if the ballot can't be tabulated, the ballot should be fed into the emergency bin, which we don't have an emergency bin. We will place them in a conspicuous place on a table.
So
Guarded.
this machine is capable of spitting out?
Yes. So before the ballot is placed into the emergency bin, the ballot attendant shall announce damaged ballot. Ballots overvotes can be tabulated by the machine and should be accepted by the tabulator after it provides a warning message. I don't know if that's the way this works, but anyway. If any individual ballot is marked as a provisional ballot, which I don't think any provisional ballots went into the tabulator, other than at North Williams, which we already tabulated those votes, so those counted. We're not going to be pulling those out. The ballot should not be fed into the tabulator, but instead shall be placed in the emergency bin. And if you do find one, of course, you need to let people know that you have a provisional that went into the machine. The bipartisan team will continue to tabulate the ballots, remove the ballot from the container, and have them fed into the tabulator throughout the counting process. It will be conducted in 2-hour intervals. So once you start, you'll stop in 2 hours. After 1 hour, the team members shall reverse the rows. At the end of each counting period, the ballot box will be opened by the tabulator attendant and the ballots will be bundled and sealed. The number of ballots sealed in the ballot container shall be recorded. At the start of each counting period, at the 1 hour roll switch, and at the end of each counting period, a bipartisan team member shall record the number of ballots on the public count. I don't know if you can do that. A machine and the number of ballots that have been removed from the ballot container. So Steve, is that something else you're going to explain? Okay. Of course, if once all the ballots have been removed from the ballot container, the tabulator attendant shall open the emergency bin and remove any damaged ballots or provisional ballots that were required to be entered into the bin. Each ballot type shall be by handle as follows: damaged ballots, examine kicked out ballots to determine the reason and to show board members for their determination as to voter intent. All ballots that were rejected for tabulation purposes by the machine shall be recounted by hand by a bipartisan team of 4. To relay the results of each ballot with one person reading the ballot and the other official observing the ballot and the person reading the results of the ballot and 2 officials recording the tally of votes for each candidate on paper while stating aloud after each choice is read on the 5th tally for a particular candidate, the word tally. Provisional ballots that's placed in an envelope marked retrieve provisional, if we should find one, which I don't think we will. And then, of course, the bipartisan team shall review a report showing the number of reported ballots cast per precinct or site and verify that this is the total number of ballots tabulated for that site. Then once we're all done at the end, we'll close the polls. Then of course we'll wrap up and then we'll be done. So Steve, whatever you have to explain, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Any questions about any of that, I guess?
So what we've done is, like Carla says, this machine does it in batches. So we're doing them in batches of 100. So 2 teams will be over here opening up the bag. And what they'll do is, the seals are already on here. They'll cut the seals. They'll tape it on this piece of paper. It's got the tape verification of numbers and the numbers that should be on there. And they'll start splitting them up into hundreds. As they go with hundreds, they'll bring the hundreds over here to be placed on the machine for it to be counted. We've got sheets on here that got batches, and we go 100, 100, and say Albright's got 375, the 4th batch will be 75, and we check them off as we go along. When we're done with Albright, this counter number's got how many we've counted on here. So when we're done with Albright, we should have 375, there should be 375 on the counter. As we're doing this, when we're done with the hundreds, they're being placed back in the bag, and we're sealing the bag and taking it back to our office. Okay? When we move on to the next precinct, again, we break it down by batches, but then we've got the number of the combined precinct should be 673, so when we're done, we check the ballot counter to make sure it's 673 before we move on to another precinct. So we're keeping track as we're going along to make sure the amount of ballots that should be run through the machine matches what we have on here, and we're checking them off as we go through.
What do we do if we're off?
We will have to document that.
Do we do anything more than that? Do
We will document, well, we need to continue the process. If we're off, we gotta document and see why we're off. We should not be off though, because these bags have not been opened since election night, and the numbers match what's on the tape. Yes, sir.
How do we know we're gonna have batches of 100? Have y'all already done it? Or are we gonna do
No,
it?
when they open them up, they will be counting them
Okay.
100 at a time. We did that. This machine can probably do 200 or so, but we figured if we do it 100 at a time, it lessens on the jamming, especially when we start going to these absentee by mail. They're not nice and flat. And so we figured if we do 100, it cuts down on any errors, any problems and all that.
So the human error would be if we've got 48,000 ballots to go through. If we pull a batch of 101,
Then the next batch will make 99 to make it 100, so we don't have a
I
problem with
mean,
that.
we
Yes.
may miscount taking
Yes.
them out because we're gonna be moving here. And then we put it in there, it'll say.
Well, that's why the second team over here, that's why they're checking these off and making sure the numbers match. First team does 100, the second team should verify if it's 100. If by chance we win 101 or 99 or something like that, then we know on the next batch we can equal it out to
How are we
make it
gonna
100.
detect if we have 99 or 101?
Because this machine here is keeping track of the count as you're putting them in here. And that's what they're gonna be looking at.
So we'll say, we put in 100, but the machine will say 101 went through?
Yes, and that's how we know we've got an extra one on there.
And then what do? We check the
Just keep
machine,
going.
we do a hand count? Or what?
No, this machine here is counting accurately. So there's an error on our end. So on the next batch, we take one out and make it 99. So that count should then be 200.
The reason I bring that up, that's probably gonna happen if we're going through 48,000 ballots.
We're gonna go slow.
I know.
We're gonna make sure we don't have to, that's why we have the teams over here. And that's another thing.
And that's why we're watching the count.
That's why we're watching it, exactly. And that's another thing. Once this process begins, this room needs to be quiet. So any questions that anybody has in this room, either you wait until we're done with the 2 hours when we do the break, and then we can answer any questions. But while we're doing this, it needs to be complete silence and quiet, because we are trying to keep track of this and making sure we don't make any errors. Okay? And so that's how we're doing it, and then when we're done, we'll seal it, and the bag will go over there, and we move on to the next one. We've already put them in here, they're already in order by the sheets. And we've got the seals on there, and we're keeping track of everything. There's chairs for the board to monitor.
We're gonna need that table.
That table, we're gonna need that table actually, so, but we've got chairs here for the board to sit and monitor. If you've got any drinks, just please keep them away from any computers or any ballots.
There's no food or drink allowed in the room.
I'll set mine out by the door.
Yeah,
I
set 'em out
told
there.
them, so it's fair for everybody.
Okay.
It was on the thing, in case a spill gets on something.
That's fair, that's reasonable.
We started with election day, because there's only 4,892 on election day. When we're done with election day, we will move on to precinct, we will move on to one stops. What we've done with one stops is we've broken them down by one stop at a time. And again, we've done it by batches, but obviously, with early voting, we had a lot. And then the final one will be absentee by mail.
What about provisionals?
We'll do that, we'll do provisions. There's only 63, we'll do that one, yeah.
Supplementals.
Supplementals will be combined.
Let's do
with
that
absentee,
one first.
so.
Doing absentee
So,
ballots, because
one other question, with this machine, I haven't seen it work, but we occasionally had ballots that would be rejected by our 6 other machines.
We brought in.
And we would duplicate them and make them nice and pretty, and they would go through. So do we anticipate the same frequency of jamming irregularities with this, what do you call it, document feeder? With this
It's a
thing?
scanner, I am not sure, yeah,
This one is only taking pictures.
that's all it's doing.
It's not going to
tell them.
test to make sure that it doesn't have, that it, well, it actually would test that it has overwrites and whatnot, but your corrections or where you duplicate ballots, those are already in there, so any corrections you've made have already been done.
There shouldn't be any white-outed ballots.
So
Right.
there are some that have slight tears on the edge that would go through the old machines. It'll be interesting to see if they go through this machine.
This is why we have this one under here. If there's any problems where it didn't go through, this is the emergency bin that Pandora was talking about. This is it. If we have any issues, we're just gonna put it in this bag here and we'll deal with it
So if
afterwards.
a ballot won't go through mechanically, we put it in there and then we duplicate or do something to make it go through it later?
After we're done with the whole process, yes. Any questions or anything?
I'm gonna turn on the scanner so you can see the zero.
Everybody,
Everyone
I need
needs
everybody to see this machine and see that there's zeros on
board
there.
members.
Board members, teams, everybody. Get the two candidates to come in down, so they can see it. So I can have them come in and look at it to make sure that show the zero counter that we are starting out with zeros.
Do either of the candidates have any questions about this process before we get started? Do you understand it as well as you want to?
All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
All right. If we're good to go and everybody's ready, we'll start with the first precinct. You ready? Okay. Who wants to do what?
We've already been assigned. We'll start here.
I need to print the zero report first.
Y'all can go ahead and start. Just cut that over there.
Does that need to be signed by the board members?
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't sign it just because.
It's a good idea. Y'all should probably sign it. Nope.
Start with the 100.
Chuck, she's gonna tell the zero take on board as well as I sign it.
Oh,
No, you just, what you're doing is you're putting it in, and I want you to see how you got it. First batch, check it off as you go. After it's done,
Everybody bring their own
make sure it's
pen.
100 on there. And then,
We have,
and then hand it
pens if
over,
you don't have your
hand it over
own.
to me and Dawn and put it in the back.
Just a minute.
As
Anyone
much as possible, try to social
I
distance.
named this one, Election Day. You'll see right here, Election Day recount.
Yeah, this is.
Total scanned ballots. And this is from our test yesterday, is 32. That's the number of scans that are actually done on
And you
the
take these and just give it back here, me and Dawn will do it. Make sure that. On the back, it comes right away, right?
Yeah.
No.
I still need, right, there's one. This is, the election.
So what is the left-hand counter 32 mean? That means
That's
that's,
where I tested the machine yesterday.
you tested it 32 times or something?
I tested it 32 times yesterday. Actually, I tested it more than that. I tested it about 200 ballots
I'm sorry, okay.
prior to cleaning everything out, and then I tested some more.
And this counter is zero, right?
As you go along, you'll see that number.
Okay.
So when we're done
And then
with all that,
when we're
375,
finished
we'll
with
start again with 100 and
the
check them off.
precinct, I'll print
Then
another one of
that
these
number should be
sheets, and it'll show
673.
you
Do
how
not
many
move on to the
times
next precinct, you'll come back and
Yeah.
matches what we have on there.
hit the button scan, or how
And
many
if we have a problem
100,
with the hands or whatever, then
like if there was
we'll put it in there.
365.
You want to show the candidates?
This should be, it's when we start doing something.
Hey, you two guys.
That'll have a problem.
So, Mr. Flores and Mr. Wilkie, what we did is this the machine, 91? That's the name of the machine. It says polls are open. See this 32?
The biggest, yeah.
We tested it 32 times yesterday. They're not 32 votes on it, right? She tested it yesterday, this machine worked.
Then,
But when the votes start, they'll be, where will it
that's
be?
about now 12,000.
So here, when they were talking about the stacks of 100,
We're gonna
those
do
are
as many as we
batches.
can
So
today. We're
the
gonna
number of
survive.
batches that I put
Probably,
in
we're
over
thinking we hope we
here.
finish election
The
day,
number that I
maybe
actually write to the
one of the
machine
one-stops
over here, so that
one
will
or
still
two,
be zero
depends on
after
how
election
quickly
day.
this process
This will
goes.
remain remain zero until I actually write to the machine.
So when you were counting today, this number's gonna change? This is
Correct.
actually going up and up and up and up?
And this one is actually,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
that's
there's
the
two
actual
sheets.
number
One's
of
for you,
ballots.
one's for you.
Oh,
Both of them.
Oh, scan
You
and balance.
see, this is scanned batches, so this is the
Batch,
number
batch of
of
100.
100.
Okay, and this is the number that's gonna go.
Oh, no.
And what happened is, each of us signed, as board members saying, this is accurate. So if it's not accurate, I go to jail.
There's
Okay.
48,000. That's the one thing.
We have 48,000.
This thing's fairly close.
Okay, we're about to start.
But
Carla,
Pass
you ready to
this
go?
down.
Carla,
This is
Okay.
check,
So,
this is
oh, no.
all right, and you can just stick, we can just stick the whole thing, correct?
You can.
Yes,
You can put the whole-
so, back it up.
You don't do anything else.
Okay.
That's 100?
That's a hundred.
I'm glad we got this done first.
Look at that. This is
Wow.
amazing.
Remember when we had feed, ka-chunk,
Once
ka-chunk,
you
feed?
come and look and see the image, scan and put on.
Hey, you can see the
Being
image
scanned, they're being
being
scanned and being saved on the computer as an image. First batch. Yeah, first batch.
So should there be a stall in between, Steve?
Yeah.
So should there be a stall in between, or should they have some ready to go back up on there? I didn't know if you didn't have to have it ready to put it in there immediately.
It's doing a batch, and when it's done with that, it'll move on to another batch. And then.
They still got some in there.
So,
Good.
I'm talking to you.
We good?
so at 10:30, that'll be a 2-hour interval.
And at 9:30, we switch off teams.
There's no.
Yeah, let's do that.
That's
Once that batch stops, so they can see it.
Some of them,
Yeah,
they're just lined up. Some of them are looking for the same thing.
We're all, we're too proud to go.
Sometimes every once in a while.
Yes.
No,
What we're seeing on this.
well, you'll have to. What do you do? But still, you have to take precaution. We're done daily.
So we've just counted the first
Where did you die ourselves?
100 ballots on this. They were put right here. We're about to start another 100 ballots. You can see what happens.
Come over here, Mr. Flores. Watch this. Come over here. Andy. That's number 2 of 100. That's the second batch of 100.
And it's taking a picture from the back of each ballot.
And
And as you can see, the ballots are actually
You can
showing up on
Charles
the
already
scanner right there. And each time a ballot is counted, it's getting marked right there.
It's a good thing.
And then the
I'm
ballot
not
is being counted.
this machine is working very nice, very smoothly. But these ballots already went to another machine, so sometimes we had supposed to tears and abnormal marks, and it would reject them, but this thing's like, choo, 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 this is nuts.
Well, these are election day ballots, so they just went through the scanner like twice.
See, these work
I
real.
want to do my minutes.
Sometimes it
The ones
doesn't,
that you had to deal with.
I want to be all.
they were damaged in the,
When we get to have some,
You don't know
see this one.
some of the ballots have a torn corner, or, and they may not compete as easily as. Okay,
So you have this out here.
this is nice.
Yeah, they never set it up.
You
would pick up? Any questions, ask Dory.
Stack is done. You should be able to see on the counter that it's 100.
I'm going to the office. If y'all need me, you know where I'm be.
Thank you, Pandora.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
I'm gonna move myself.
She's looking at color.
Steve, for this one that's gonna be formed, put it in like that.
It should, yeah, it's good. This one here, what you think? Can you print her a copy of the, did you say the election day one on the laptop? This one right here, does it save on the laptop? Yeah. Can you print one for Carl? I gave them one each. That one doesn't have it broken down like that.
I just wanted to.
When election day, you know, the whole thing.
Makes me nervous.
We were just talking about how nice it was coming through. Because it's not. I know, that's what we were just talking about.
I don't know. We were pretty tough.
That's all I don't look like.
I don't know.
What's the option?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna call him 2 or 3 times.
Not at one stop. Thank you.
That's the end of over 300.
Yep.
Yeah.
Steve, is it okay for them to start?
They can start on a new one now that there are no more ballots in the precinct.
Yeah, the fingers get dry.
75. No. Maybe I'll put that machine. Yeah, put that back out.
Y'all need that last one.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got the money too.
All right, or they can consult and do that. It should be 375.
What will you do?
Well,
Thanks, sir.
Okay. So now that, 375?
Okay.
So now that we're done with this, take the staple, old seal's on here, new seal number.
The best I can do is show you that I have 4 batches. But that's all I can show.
So for anybody watching, we've just completed the Albright count from Election Day. And they're getting ready to count for Bennett. That'll be our next precinct.
So they come out exact same.
And the numbers came out exactly the same. It was 375 that we had recorded, and 375 ballots just went through the machine here. So we're on track.
And this is election day.
Yes.
Got 6 here.
Don's got some on speaker, I can tell him that.
Mrs. Bennett, you're down there?
Yeah.
There we go. 6, 7, 0.
Okay, we've just completed Bennett, and we now have a running total of 673 votes, which is what we need to have.
You good?
Yep. And our next precinct will be Von Lee.
Not round number.
So is this, we're doing bond lane now?
Yes.
Yes.
Steve. Let's see, one spot, let's see.
We have all the bonding already?
This is the second 100 stack.
The last of it?
The second, now we're rolling.
179.
that fast.
873.
Okay, we've just finished counting the Vonleh precinct, 279 votes. We're still on track. We've now counted a total of 952 votes. Is that right?
Let's start buying them.
Are we buying?
We just finished Vonleh and they're
Starting on
starting on
Vonleh.
Vonleh.
That's finished final.
This was Bondman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Trying to get away from you. No, none of that's nice. Tell you what you do now.
Yeah.
1110.
Okay, we just completed the count for Bynum, 158 votes. We're still on overall track. We've counted 1,110 votes so far. The next precinct will be Goldston.
Put it on the side. Tom, put it on the side of it.
people stood on election day with 234 ballots. The next precinct is Three Rivers.
So we're at 1344.
Yes.
Yes, this is
I figured it would make more sense for you guys to just work it out with each other.
yeah.
And I figured you could tell me anytime. You don't both need to be here.
Yep, 103 Rivers.
Did you read about the Wake County? Aren't you glad that's not our life here?
And shaking with the machine, how we do?
Three Rivers.
That's 100?
Okay.
Three Rivers.
How many? I think so, yeah. Got some where they're at. If they're not right there, what are they?
Yes.
Is this 100?
That's yours.
No, mine was over. They just wanted heavy duty ones.
Some sheriff's department, some to the fields.
Next 100, Three Rivers.
Early for you, ain't it?
It's a shit.
I can just see you rolling it out the back door. Big tank.
Comes running over.
I know.
What is it? I know, what is it?
Make sure my count matches. You said we did the math. Hey, I'm already blessed. My car started. I made it here this morning, so I'm good. She seems to really run better in cold weather.
My life, my entire life's been.
It'll do that.
I know.
Temperatures.
I know.
Last one of
18 for Three Rivers.
18.
Oh, I thought you had one.
Yeah, they're doing it. I'll give them
As soon as your hands move away from me, I start standing.
Great.
1762.
That completes Three Rivers, 418 votes. Next precinct is Hadley on election day.
Here's this one. Here. What was this one? And the seven.
Here's 16. Okay. So I'll come over and take a look at that one.
We're right here.
87.
It doesn't matter, we just signed the top, so we're on the second one.
Show them what you're doing.
Okay, 1962. There. Here's the last 87 for, you'll push it down, push it down.
Nothing, nothing, they just set it in there.
And then we're just marking off as we go.
Policy control. All you're doing is putting it in there and then
will do.
Like,
Excuse me.
Yeah, anything you got yet? Yeah. There's one of those stacks where somebody signed it. In that top box. That must be where I signed it.
Okay, that completes Hadley, 287 ballots. Our next precinct is gonna be Harper's Crossroads. And we're also switching teams to give people a break from their current tasks.
Oh, sure, what the heck. That one at the table gets out of the time. Everything does are neat, the ones that stuff.
Are you putting it just back in the?
Put it back in the video, so they work when it came out.
Okay.
We have the network where they rise up and they
Yeah.
come down.
You had a guy from me in Sacramento, worked for me in Sacramento, who had a standing desk. And he would change the height during the day just so that his arms weren't always at the same spot.
Yeah. Like, one guy will lower it down if you're having a meeting in his office. Been waiting on that a few months.
Just in case. I'm ready to have it.
Well, that's a
From
little
us,
bitty
you can say,
precinct
from
too.
you, say,
Yeah.
Okay, so
I got all those too.
The next one's even worse.
We will finish it with the smallest of them all.
No, mine actually gives you the precincts that are
181.
Is that 180, 100? We're done, it should say 12.
That's 181 votes for Harper's Crossroads, which checks. Our next precinct is Hickory Mountain on election day.
That one.
This one too.
This
There's 100.
there's no, seal.
Chatham.
No seal.
Steve?
Yes.
It didn't have a seal on it.
That's right, no seal on it. It wasn't a seal on the ballot.
Is that Dan's chapel?
You note that?
Yeah, we notated it on the sheet.
I think seal got it.
No, that was no shadow. You can see, you
There
go,
was one thing came out of it, on the phone, I didn't get a pen. Got all three. That's the right number. 48. The next 48.
yeah, we got to settle Pandora and see why. I don't know if she went through it or not.
Okay, that was Hickory Mountain, just counted 148 votes for Hickory Mountain. The next,
Man chapel.
The judge?
the next precinct is Man's Chapel.
Can be 100.
I'll check and see if Pandora, they did something, you know, looking for that agreement or something like that. If they ran it for some reason. Just, we would have documented it on election day, they would come in to see.
I just didn't remember, there was something.
And they had to know the, piece of paper, so. Thank you. Go look and see it. I need to know about me.
I'll look at it.
That's what I'm saying, in the election report. This one didn't have a tape because this one wasn't able to produce a tape. So we had to get it to Carla on the election night. It was that one where the tablet wasn't locked in place. We're sending that machine back to be repaired. That's why we said that. So we saw it.
So, Donald's checking on
This is
Oh, that's
the
cool.
ceiling in the ground, so.
Chuck, let's talk for a second. You got a box?
We're gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it.
Yes, so let's see.
They're checking on to see.
Who's checking it?
That's 42.
Donald.
This is Maine's check?
This is Maine's check.
My mistake.
There's something on
There's no seal on Maine's.
Right, right. And he's aware of it, Donald's checking it.
So the transfer over there checking it now. No, it could be either on election or if they didn't bring it back in the seal, or we'll document that down there. It could be that when we put them up on, we'll put them on the election night and snap off. And that on the corner right there, these things are very expensive. Doesn't take much. And there's a number of instances. No, it's not. If there's a number in there, then
You got another 100 over there.
We're not gonna have a confrontation, we're gonna let you know. You're gonna investigate?
Yeah, but the numbers are matching what we have on there, so your sheet, if that matches what we have on there, then.
Okay, the Nance Chapel count is complete. We've counted 342 ballots, which is what we
Yeah.
noted for election day. The
Can you
next
see that on
precinct
there?
is New
So
Hope.
we're on Manhattan,
Which means
302.
the numbers match what we have on election night.
Do we have a hundred?
Should.
This 21 here. These 61.
Which means it hasn't been tampered.
Exactly. Means just put anything, they'll take them whatever.
Make sure that's 101.
I'm thinking, because see, they're like
There's
this.
28.
Oh.
You seal them. You see how flimsy they are.
Is it
When you seal them, they're like this.
Is it 301?
When you're banging these things around, you put them up on there, all it takes is one little hit, and they snap off. So it may have been that, because it happened before, but we're looking
They
at
did,
that.
and then it, I don't know where, I guess he grabbed the,
What now?
Sheet of the,
Oh, sheet that
they
they-
have a list of how many they're supposed to have in each precinct over there at Susan's table.
did you already pick that up? The one with the,
For New Hope?
yeah,
Yeah, I got it right here. 302 total.
so three, so they were having to count.
Okay.
You wanna keep this in?
No, so that they can see that.
We don't.
Okay.
I don't know what I have.
There's one,
Easier, I think.
Full list of all.
Yeah, I think I figured if we went slower and we just take it
no, you
together.
only have 302 on it. 301 over there, it's the recount.
Okay.
Should be 302.
Yep.
So they caught it over there instead of over here.
But this is also one that we see a lot.
No, they're looking for 302.
New Hope.
Correct.
We got it. We didn't have it the first time.
Okay.
There was a pause there
That's
because,
We were,
fine.
me and Miss counted one.
That's,
It happened.
there was a
First
pause
time.
there because as they were counting out the ballots for New Hope, they were one off. They recounted the ballots, came out right.
Yeah.
So we're now about to count the 302 ballots for New Hope.
That's the point.
We ended up with one.
That's right.
It's hard because some of these are slightly bigger than others.
Yeah.
So we're filling them up. Don't know if you've got two together or not.
I had two stuck together one time earlier, and I just recounted that was 10.
Yeah, that's what I did a couple times.
you won't have that problem, the absentee by mail.
That's right.
Yeah, I
You
don't
just had to
want
go
to,
there, did you? Just had to go
You won't
there.
have that problem.
yeah, this is only a tenth of them from election day, so.
Yeah.
Carla's like, why don't we start off with the easy stuff?
I know.
Just start with that.
I'm like her, I'm wired to not get
We gotta break in the machine. You wanna break
Like
it
me,
into by
not
mail?
the hard stuff first. I want you to set last, like the last.
Yeah, yeah.
Get the hard stuff out of it.
That's not what we're gonna do. That's
Yeah.
chopper, but you can't close. All right,
Well,
we're
that's
at 2,820.
That's what they tell you to do when you're looking at what you got to do for the day, right?
All right, yep. Next contract.
So that has to do with sort.
Can I propose that we do the next batch on 102? Steve? Can I propose that we do the next batch on 102 instead of just the batch of 2?
About on top of the 100 stuff.
If you want me to, I'll do that.
It won't.
No,
We
it
can
won't.
check the 100
You
of
can
each
check
at
it
the
on
same time.
yeah, that's fine.
I'm gonna put them on top.
Okay.
I like that proposal, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a limit on batches, there was a limit on the task I did say.
Is that the one?
Well, there are places where they got more than 100 precincts, so I think they allow you to have at least that many.
$6.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Steve.
All right,
102.
102.
They don't have a
Too many more. No, they got the last page.
On that little white piece of paper, they go through that return back. It's got a bunch of lines, and we check everything off, there's a comment box on the bottom, and that's what the white is about. No, if we didn't have one on our motion, then we would walk in, open those sealed.
These are curved up. They're sitting on top of the stack.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look at the seal.
Yeah.
I'll look at it. Oh, there's that white piece of paper. The hardwood piece of paper, when they come and pick up. Well, actually nicer. No, if there was something missing, we could add something on that white piece of paper. So it may have snapped.
Okay, that completes the count for New Hope, 302 votes. Next batch is Oakland precinct on election day.
100.
No, that's 102, Steve. Remember that one was a 102.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no,
What
I
time
told
is
her.
it?
No.
Counter was that one started right there.
Yep, looks like it. Andy?
Oh, Andy?
Andy said he was gonna bring somebody else.
Okay. I'm gonna need some training.
thought Liz taking them back and forth.
He's at the dentist.
Oh,
Yeah, he'll be back.
Alright, so we're at 3-1-1-2.
Should be 21 in this one.
She told us about that too.
Okay, we're at 3-1-4-3. We're right on track.
Okay, that completes Oakland, 121 votes. Next precinct is Pittsburgh.
Number 482 of these. Maybe if they were done for the damn, sorry, I'm gonna assume we're gonna do it by board for people. Because they're in bad set. If they've been, yeah, somebody, and most of them we did, because we had to recount everything. That'll help. That's what we tell our clients to do when we put them in the staff, class, before you run through. They use take down hard couplers to get them all lined up so that they do very well.
100 for Pittsburgh.
Okay, oh. Wonder what makes them catch like that.
That's why I kept wondering, I was like, I gotta cover this copy. I'll leave it here though. Makes you start coughing. Y'all need to approve a minute? Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're at 3-2. 9243.
That's perfect.
We're ready to the basket.
I haven't seen it back yet, so I can put this back over there with town order also.
That's 100.
Do you like them here? Nathan, would you like to put it in?
Thank you.
Those are awesome counters.
182.
I gotta step outside, blow my nose. Too much mask.
That's 100.
But I had to remind myself I was military school, we have a lot of information. I was watching this and I had my knees like, I was like, oh, God, what is this?
It's over. The other thing is, just slightly, but blood circulation.
There's two Pittsburgh facts in there.
Still perfect. Mask that, gets in your nose.
much, it didn't have any more seals to seal the back. Because I had a red X over where the seal, or a red line over where the seals were. Because we have more seals. This is bag of used seals, that whole bag was full.
So, well, because it's,
Mhm.
so, yeah, one of the things that we're doing with it, you guys know it's bad, it's bad.
Yes.
That was the error on
That was the only thing I got.
No, this is Pittsburgh.
I know he came in, I thought, it was specific, so.
For the last 82, October.
Yeah, and those bags have not been touched since election night.
Right.
So, and that's the night they go, they go into the bins, and this is the first time we've taken it out of the bins to do it. That's fine.
Okay, that completes Pittsboro, 482 votes. The next precinct is East Siler City on election day.
I learned to wear my coat every time I left on this on my back. I'm standing here, still chilly.
Pulled it last night.
Yeah.
Knew it was
Well, this
gonna be
morning, I
good.
did not like having to get out of the house. It was so cold. Everything was frosty and the fog was so thick. So glad everything was.
Oh, yeah, my ruler.
There you go.
This is straight on. Sort of straight. It's matches on the top and all. There you go. I only have 500 precincts. There's that one. Should've done well with the launch on my business stuff.
you're fine.
Good, too many ballots.
So, it's not one. You got 365.
You need 363.
This was 60, right?
Three sixty-three.
So we counted off. Okay. So, we know those are right. Okay.
So this is six,
So something's gotta be off in there. That's 65. That's
that's 65.
Mhm.
This is the off-the-shelf scanner. Definitely faster than my computer scanner. I got a 10-year-old multi-purpose with backs and everything built in.
Yeah, mine's here.
Still works, so.
I need to, is it, we got it.
You do?
Yeah.
That was short.
Yeah. That's it.
Hmm?
Nice about it, you'll drink it.
Well, the problem with it is that it's built on NC technology, which doesn't handle the new security stuff.
Alright, 100 going in.
200, 300, 363.
Sorry, I hit the button, watch it.
You're like, see, that's what
It'll be faster because it only has to travel that much shorter distance.
People work with us.
General purpose scanner bar. Fixed with. Not a ballot. It's this. This was in there. Count sheet.
726 at 4.
Oh,
So what did it do?
so if I
It's
could have the
scanned.
board's attention, let me show you how this machine works.
Lori,
Lori?
Lori,
We're off that one.
Hang on. Are you off by one?
Yeah, I agree.
Where's that sheet of paper again?
It's right here.
So this sheet of paper accidentally got put into the ballots.
It was meshed in with the ballot
Oh, my
stuff.
goodness.
So it got scanned.
Okay.
It's just a regular sheet of paper.
It's the same thing, it's just like what we're.
So nothing got counted.
But if you'll look at my screen, you'll see ballot scanned successfully is 100. And the sheet that's rejected is the one that is not a ballot. So the machine, the software recognizes that that is not something that should be in this batch of things. So once I go through the review process, we'll look at that one sheet of paper. But now our counts are off by one.
Okay, we will always have one more
Yes.
count on our count, we would expect.
Excuse me. Yes, ma'am.
And tell me again, how
You
do
wanna
we,
keep that sheet with us?
So just add one to each of these numbers as we go down.
I'm sorry, what did you
You wanna
ask?
keep that sheet with
No.
us?
Okay, so for the camera, what happened just now is accidentally, a sheet we're using to keep track of the numbers for the recount got included in a set of 100 ballots that were going through the scanner. So the scanner actually counted that we had put in 101 pieces of paper, of which only 100, which were the actual ballots, got counted. The other one just is noted as a count, but it's not counting any votes because it was not a ballot. So from now on, as we go through our list on the recount, we'll always have one more, it will always appear that we have one more ballot counted than is actually the right number. So we just need to remember that, and Carla is keeping track of all that, for reporting later on.
well, the ballot, I mean, the sheet of paper that went through, how are we gonna rectify it later? Are we gonna keep notes or memos or something?
Yes, sir. Almost like an incident report.
Okay. Now, is this the east side of City County that we're doing?
Yes, sir.
Where
That
is
was
she?
the first batch.
The first batch is east side.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, we can move it.
What time is it?
We're gonna start. After West, in 15 minutes, we gotta take a break, so.
15.
Yeah, that's the one that gets covered. We just wanted to be.
You all are doing a fantastic job. I would like to point that.
Yes, thank you.
All of
Both teams.
Yeah, it's so hard.
All I have to do is sit here and push a button. This is so much better than the old way.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's pretty cool that it saves him.
Oh, you're in the machine.
Yeah, but that's so cool.
And then you can see right there on the watching the channel.
All the newest election devices do it by the old stuff, the M100. When you were on optical instead of digital, you couldn't do a recount off of the images at all because they didn't have them,
This reads 3826.
which is the right number.
3826.
Let us know when you finish east side of the city, so we can look at the count, and just see that the electronics are doing what you said they're supposed to be doing.
Sure. I have this one and one more.
That's actually pretty cool, the machine.
Yeah, the
It
machine
is.
bought it.
I was
Tells you what's going on.
impressed when they brought the check. The person I was testing it didn't show it on the screen. And I trusted. The test parameters are a little different.
When you were watching this, you saw that the
No, they saw it through the.
oh, they saw it coming out.
Yeah, I noticed
It
it.
was the, one of these things that looked like the other, the Sessions
It's shorter than the other ballot, so when it didn't come out, it cut the
It
eye.
made a splash.
surprisingly few that are just chapter X.
All right, we're at 3926.
West side or west?
Just for like,
Three nine eight nine.
Okay, that's the right number.
3989. On our sheets here, it said 3988, it says 3989 on the counter because of that stray sheet that got in there, so things are working out fine. We just counted 363 ballots in East Siler City, and the next precinct is West Siler City.
Taking a break after I saw.
Afterwards. Yeah, stop. Yep, one more precinct over there that y'all have already counted. Yeah, just stop and then,
What is that? Are you two ahead? Are you two ahead? Oh, I see.
that's west,
West side of the what we're doing
and that's
right
east,
now.
and that's east of them.
It is-
Oh, this is East Williams, okay, and that's North Williams over there.
Yes.
Lost it. All right, 4089.
Okay.
No. One of those was rejected, I don't know why. Alright.
Does it
So,
say anything about which?
Nope,
huh,
wait, it does say I can view the rejected image.
Tell you which one in the stack?
It's a West Siler City ballot, so I don't know why it's not taking it.
Is this the one? Was it right in there? No. There's a ballot.
how do you know that's the ballot?
It told me. It's the 41st ballot in the stack.
Yes, 10. 30?
This is on.
She says 40 first.
It's not,
It's on.
check marks that go through. I'm looking for,
Oh, gotta go down.
There's 40?
It's gonna be this one down.
You started from the top, didn't you? You'd have to go to 59.
Back myself out.
It does have a piece of the
Oh,
ballot
that's it,
paper.
that's my favorite.
oh, it's torn or something, is that what it is?
It's got,
It's got a chaff,
Halfway.
a tear.
Let me see. Yeah,
You may.
oh, it's torn across the lane, Marshall. Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Council House.
And you didn't count that.
Well, I flipped it.
Oh, you flipped, okay.
So it's rejected.
can we ask it to count it since the
Should have an
contest
accept
in
button.
question aren't a problem?
It won't let me.
In what way?
So has it rejected it? So they have a way in here to do the rejections. Put them
So we'll
in.
just have to duplicate that ballot.
Yes.
It goes into a, yeah, an emergency thing, and we must make sure it's not counted.
It's not.
It's not.
And we document it.
That's a good old day for your calling, and I'm my hand
Yeah.
Okay.
So is this still East Siler City?
We are on West Siler City.
And this was ballot number 41?
It was
That's
the-
not a good way to identify it.
It was the 41st and the
It's probably
second
not a good
batch.
idea for you to write down a ballot number either.
Just one ballot rejected.
Yeah.
41st and the
41st
second
and,
batch.
no, in the first batch.
First batch?
Yeah.
You know it's that ballot, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, just put it in here.
Let's duplicate that, Steve.
Open on that.
And this is our emergency day.
And it was an abnormality over what candidate?
Elaine Marshall.
It's like a partial mark.
So what just happened here
One of
is,
those zeros on the line.
So,
yeah, you want to explain that?
due to a tearing on the ballot on the Elaine Marshall race, the machine will not read that particular race, therefore Central has rejected that ballot. We have to recreate that ballot and scan it in with another batch. At this point, we accept this batch with 99 correct ballots, which moves us back down to
Which
the
moves
correct
us
number
back
that
down to
we
the
should
correct
have.
number, that's right.
Yeah.
This has all been documented, and so at a later date, the ballot in question has been put into what we call the emergency bin, and at some point later on, the board will duplicate that ballot without the tear, and then we'll be able to count that ballot.
May I add something? So the voter's intent was obvious on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be easy to reproduce the mark, and so the voter has not lost a vote, it's just going to be reproduced later to go in the machine.
We are ready to proceed.
All right, we're still counting West Siler City.
Next stack of 100.
Second 100 from Siler City.
All right, we're set.
Next, East Williams.
Yeah, this little temporary seal. Look down here. This one says North.
So does that,
It's in the box.
does that mean that, why wasn't that ballot rejected on election day?
Huh?
Why wasn't that ballot rejected on election day?
Because they probably read it on the scanner on election day.
No idea.
Different machine. I got it, it's in here.
I have no idea.
It's on it.
But we could say get a scanner, so.
Put our total votes on election day.
They could have read it, they could have kicked it back out and told the voter, you've overvoted or undervoted, and the voter could have selected yes, say, accept as is.
So we don't know whether our totals are gonna be one off because of.
Correct.
Yeah, we don't know what happened on election day. It could have, that ballot could have been kicked out, and then the voter could have told the voter, you've overvoted, or whatever, would you like to continue, and the voter could have said accept as is.
Well, what I'm saying is on our recount, we could end up slightly off
So it
because,
won't make a difference at all.
because.
Yeah, the main things though is the Wilkie and the,
What are we at?
Cherry Beasley race. Those are the two that we have to, that's what we're, so as long as we can clearly see the intent of those two voters, the rest of the stuff
You back on
is
your,
just, yeah.
No, it's 418.
Still counting the number of papers.
oh, that's right,
Okay.
I gotcha.
Okay, Carla.
Yes. Oh, the other Carla.
The other
Smart
Carla.
Carla. I'm the
You
one
said
for reading.
7 additions, should I put them on the 100 or not?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we got 107 going in.
I have to do something to the batches after this, so I don't want to, tiny little batches. I can handle batches 20, but not batch 7.
Right. 107 going in.
Thank you.
What did we see in the other page?
I think we're both.
Oh, you? Oh, well.
I think we're both. I just follow the smart one. Yeah, she is like way out of my range on smarts.
We got 2 incident reports, right?
No, just,
She may not
that's
have
not
a
an
side of
incident.
blood like I can, but.
Oh, yeah, there is something there.
First one was an incident.
That's an incident, yes.
Not this one.
This one's not an incident,
I would
that's
just
just normal, you're gonna, you might encounter more like that. It's part of the process, and you already know what to do. It spells out in the memo what to do in the situation.
Can you dissect your pig or
Oh, no,
anything?
it's not like that. It's like we've been growing corn in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. He's still
As
on.
a matter of fact, when y'all are transcribing those ballots,
They're
this is a
doing
recount
DNA.
for the Beasley and Wilkie race, those are the only two that you're gonna have to transcribe.
Oh, okay.
Because people, it can be left on.
Genetics and all of that stuff.
And I need a full ballot though.
No, I'm gonna give them a full ballot, but they don't.
But I need that, I need a full ballot into the system.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a blank ballot, all they need to do.
But they have to put the whole ballot back into the system.
We have to trans-
They have to recreate that
All
whole
right,
ballot.
this
So
says
even if you don't know what the intent, we'll just-
4296. 4296.
Wait,
Correct.
You should.
You're exactly right.
What do you mean if you don't know
Shouldn't
the
it
intent?
say
With our plus one.
No,
No.
we counted the
For us,
paper.
it's the
Remember,
number
this
of
machine
papers
keeps
that
it
went
rolling.
into the machine.
107.
But we had one rejected.
Yeah,
But
but
it
it
still
did not
went through
reject
this
it from
machine.
this machine.
But this machine keeps counting. This
Oh.
counts the
Counts the
number
number
of
of
pages
times.
that actually go in this machine. So it continues to count.
Oh, okay.
It's that our numbers in this machine are off by 1.
Okay, so that continues.
I was wrong when I said that brings us back to our other numbers.
So this is
You've
4296.
not rejected
Yeah,
it.
The rejected ballot was not,
It was
This
not
is gonna
counted
stand.
in our software.
got
It
it,
should still
It
be
was
off by one.
counted
Yes.
as a.
as a
you
piece
want
of
to
paper
use
that went through the
No.
machine.
All right, there was no
It's-
votes
it's
counted or
10:30,
anything.
but we need to take a break, and I need to get my head cleared because.
Okay. All right, so that's 307 votes counted in West Siler City. And now we'll move on to East Williams.
It's
break time.
It's break time.
Hold on.
Okay.
Have
We've
they,
got
have y'all
We gotta scan these two batches
scanned that,
first.
and then we go to break? So I'm gonna back over here.
Okay, that's the 100, yes.
I don't. I really don't.
East Williams going in, first 100.
So did you know what happened? When the ballot rejected?
What was wrong with it? It had a.
Can we send the counters on to break so that they can be counting before we come back?
A ballot that got through. I know.
Well, they're gonna switch roles anyway.
Okay, I guess these.
Yeah,
That one's a small precinct, it's only 175. We should be done.
I don't care about up.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
when everybody goes on break, when they come back from break, everybody needs to sign this incident report. That's in this room.
That was the paper went in the machine.
Thanks.
Sign it now?
You can't, yeah, here goes
At least you know what it is. That's a good thing. Everybody can get some fresh air.
How long is the break?
15 minutes.
Whenever Carl gets back.
What?
Whenever Carl gets
15 minutes.
back. Just call me.
Have you gotta leave?
Yes. Yes, I do.
4396.
You're getting your call, right?
4396.
That's good.
All right, Steve.
Last 75 for East.
Well, everybody was on it.
Yeah, everybody should sign what's in this room. This is my first one, stop Goldstein.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I'll probably get the new vote and then the governor's village this afternoon. Might even finish. Once we get the stop sign, it's fine.
We're gonna make a head smack. Our budget's shot. We can't really do anything with it.
Oh, that's right.
Can't do
It
nothing.
takes a minute and 25 seconds to do a stack
That's
of
what we
data.
key all the time.
So if you do the arithmetic,
All right, 4471.
75.
4471.
Okay.
All
All
right,
take a
we've
break,
just counted
15 minutes.
175 votes for East Williams.
Okay, now we're taking the break, is that right?
So now
Let's
there's
be
gonna
back at
be
11.
a 15-minute break. We'll be back here at 10 till 11.
so it takes,
So he could turn this off for.
85
You
seconds to do it.
You can take a break too, for 15 minutes. Or you can turn it off.
What ballots in 85 seconds is?
So we're gonna be back at
48,012
10 till 11 to
seconds.
continue counting.
You go through the arithmetic, you find out it's like 41